I have to share something with you this morning. I've been teasing both Pastor Mira and Pastor Susan about using an iPad when they preach. Now, keep notes or text on that, and I kind of get all that stuff, but I'm sort of kidding them about that. Really, you got to use an iPad to do that? Because my method of choice are just, note cards. They don't break. The worst thing that can happen, they get out of order, or something like that. Well, they thought it'd be nice that Pastor Jim had his own iPad, so they got me this. What's the name of this? It has a name.
It's like an Etch-a-Sketch.
It's like an Etch-a-Sketch, okay. It's called Magna Doodle. So they even wrote on here Jim's sermon notes, which is nice of them, but they're not these notes. But today, I'm not going to be able to use this, nor am I going to use these. I'm going to fly without a net with you today, because really the focus of today is this table. It's not what I have to say at all. It's this table and the moments of grace that are available to us through the sacrament of communion. So what I have to say this morning is real brief, but it's just kind of to guide some of our thoughts as we enter into that moment together as a congregation and individually. I said today is partly all about you. And I kind of want to set that up for you so you can take most advantage of the moments that we share together. It was 2 years ago. I still was running a PC, and I was downloading a piece of software that I really, really, really needed. And got online, and would you like to did the whole thing. And yes, I started to download and turned away and was doing other things on my desk and turned back to the computer, and there is this big box that says out of disk space. You talking about panic. Out of disk space. What's going to happen? I'm going to get the program, and I'm not going to get it. I'm going to waste my money. And I'm thinking, I got a 40 gig hard drive. How could I be out of disk space? 40 gigabytes. I don't even know how big a number 40 gigabytes is. I know it's a lot of zeros and ones and binary code and all that stuff, but I didn't think I had that much stuff. 40 gigabytes, really? But then salvation came. It came in the form of another pop-up that said, would you like to create more disk space? Well, how did they know? Gee, to the rescue they come. Well, yeah, I want to create more disk space, so yes or no, I press yes, and all of a sudden the disk compression utility, as I understand, began to run in the background and to do its thing, and it's doing its thing, and I'm seeing the percentage as it's working away and watching it with an eye, wondering, am I still going to get the program? Is it going to come down? Did I waste my money? And then all of a sudden it's done, but panic set in again when another pop-up came up. It says, would you like to delete unused files? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're important. Just because I haven't used them doesn't mean I don't need them or I'm going to need them. All those questions go through in like a second and a half when you get a little panicky about that stuff with computers because you don't know if you're going to delete something you need. And so with great faith, and it really is a leap of faith to press the button that says yes. You just, okay, I'm going on faith. I'm flying without a net here. And I pressed the button, delete unused files, and it did. It's just a simple metaphor, simple example of if we want 2014 to be a different year than 2013 in some area of our lives, we're going to have to get rid of some of the old stuff in order to make room for some of the new stuff that we want. It's kind of silly and simple, but truly that's what we need to do if we want 2014 to be different than our 2013. And all of us in some area of our lives would like to see some kind of a change. And again, that's why I like the freshness of the new year, to be able to kind of wipe the slate clean, begin again, and create space. And so today's about creating the space. I don't know about you, but my head is just full of stuff. And what I have found is that the older I get, there's stuff falling out now. And I wonder about, and it's always names, isn't it? Well, good to know, factually, pronouns are the first thing to go. So if you're having trouble with names, know that you're perfectly normal. That's just part of what's happening up here. Well, there's two kinds of things we store in our brains. We have the intellectual space that we all need, but one of the things that also gets stored up there is all this emotional stuff, doesn't it? I mean, from the past and the present, it all gets jammed in there along with all the intellectual stuff. And I'm thinking, now, if I need to make space in areas of my life for the coming year, I can't afford the intellectual stuff. I can't afford to give up any of that space. So very simply, it's about making more emotional space. That's the stuff we got to get rid of. I'm just amazed at how much emotional stuff we collect. You know, we all have collections of emotions, and they're all right in there. And there's all kinds of things that bring them back at a moment's notice. Smell of baked breads or cookies, a sight of something, the sound of an old song. And I don't know about you, but I'll hear something from when I was in high school, a song when I was in high school, and in my brain, I am right there. Right at that time, right at that place, can tell you what I was doing. I can tell you the emotions I was feeling. What a powerful thing our brains is, but it takes up space, valuable space. So today I just want to talk about three things, not original to me, but three things that three emotional things we probably need to clean out from 2013 in order to make some changes in 2014. If you got your bulletin in front of you, if you look at the 9:45 service, I even outlined some things for them, for folks that want to fill in the blank on some of the words as a way of reminder. So you might look at that or even fill it in as it gets there. But the first thing I know that we need to get rid of if we want the new year to be different is we need to get rid of resentments. The word is resentments in there. Because we all have resentments. I mean, there's stuff happens to us every day where we're offended by this or concerned about that. It might be something somebody said or didn't say, did or didn't do. It might be something totally beyond our control, you know, that sort of thing. But we need to give them up. This has been an exciting year for Carlisle United Methodist Church, but it's also been a year in which there have been a lot of challenges. And every one of us, no matter from which church that you came from, First, Allison, or Grace, we all got hurt by something. Every one of us got hurt by something. Maybe there's a favorite program you always loved that isn't here anymore. Maybe there's some people who aren't here anymore. It's part and parcel. I don't want to minimize that in any kind of way. I want to recognize that. But if we're going to move forward, individually and collectively, we're going to have to leave that stuff behind. Because at its heart, resentment is really unforgiveness. It's really what it is. And God makes it plain. If we don't forgive, He won't forgive. If we don't forgive, He won't forgive. And if that happens, that's the definition of being stuck. And we can't be stuck if we want to move forward. Second word there begins with a W, W-O. It's worries. Got to give up worries. You know, there's only two things you and I worry about. Yes, there's only two things you and I worry about. One are the things we can change, and the second are the things we can't change. I want to challenge you to give up half your worrying time and forget about the things you can't change. Now you're only worried about half as much. Hey, it's been a great day so far, hasn't it? Only half as much. We spend an awful lot of emotional energy worrying about the things we can't change at all. When you think about it, it's kind of like sitting in a rocking chair, gives you something to do but doesn't get you anywhere. You know, that's what that is. We really need to start putting that stuff behind us. There's just some things in our lives that just happen, things we just have no control over. Worrying about them wastes emotional energy and space in our heads. And the last thing on the list, after resentments and worries, is failures. I don't know about you, but I usually can list my failures pretty quickly. They come to mind in a snap. Things that didn't work, things that didn't turn out the way I thought they would, things that just fell flat on their face, personal failings, professional failing, all that stuff is just right under the surface so many times as I think about things. Maybe that's part of that 40 gigs that's remembering all my failures as well. But we really need to give up these failures or our remembrance of these failures in order to create more space to move forward. Now, they're just three very simple things, but much easier said than done. I just want to challenge you to use these next moments as we go through the Wesley Covenant service, or our version of that service together, and think about the things that you can give up. They may be resentments, they may be worries, they may be the things that just didn't go right next year. You know, one of the things that's really, really, really important to remember in terms of our walk of discipleship, and I'm thinking about failures, you know, God simply calls us to be faithful. He didn't call us to an accomplishment. He just called us to be faithful. The results are up to Him. And over again in Scripture, He proved that God can take what we may understand as failures and turn them completely around and make them successes. So the end of the story is never the end of the story. I'd like to turn your attention now to the Wesley Covenant insert, and you'll join with me as Pastor Mira and I lead us all through this time together.